The broadcast. Snap of my fingers. I am back. You guys haven't heard from me in weeks. And I haven't heard from y'all in weeks. It is good to be back. I actually have content that I'm excited to make. Yeah, it's Paradox at the top. I was this close to finishing. I was this close to finishing. And then they dropped like 5 new Paradox Pokemon. And I lost interest. I have this little book. And I keep video ideas in here. In fact, I need to write one down right now that I just recalled. And I want to work on these ideas that I have here. So bad. But I don't know. I also have here written down on my list of goals is finish a series. So I don't want to quit. I want to finish doing ooh, that's spoilers. Don't look at that. I want to finish a series because it's in my list of goals. What else don't want to... Maybe I just take a break from the series and we come back. Because I really want to finish that series, and I was enjoying it. But, look, I don't want to make videos about Paradox Pokemon anymore. We're done. Okay, here we go. So, on my list of ideas, there's a YouTuber who does RuneScape videos. His name is Soup. He's once upon a time, he was kind of hated. Because he just made the worst guides. I mean, just total misinformation. But now he's pretty respected. Fantastic editing, good storytelling, all RuneScape. And one of his video series as he does is doing your unique money-making methods. And so people write in, and then he's got like an Excel sheet of all of them, and he tests them out, and he gets score, and he says what he thinks of it, and then he moves on to the next one. He does like 5 or 6 unique money-making methods per video. I could do that with Pokemon. Doing your unique sweepers, and then you give me something, I make a team around it, and look, today we're sweeping with Terra Normal Extreme Speed Pikachu. How about that? Huh? Would that be fun? I think that sounds fun. I would like that. I'm writing that down in my book ideas right now. Book of ideas. Sweeping with your Pokemon ideas. Soup OSRS style. So that's where I'm at right now. Goes in the book. Got a lot of ideas, people. Got a lot of ideas, not a lot of action. Okay. Where are we at? I have a lot of stuff to do here. Is my stream going? Is my stream, That don't look right to me. That don't look like I'm live. Am I live? I'm not even getting any comments, which there might just be none of you here. Where are we at? I have a lot of stuff to do here. Here we are. Is my stream going? Is my stream, type in the chat. Hey, y'all. That don't look right to me. And then we're gonna do, poll for you. Start a poll. Have you left a like? I'm not even getting any comments, which there might just be none of you here. And then I'm gonna check my text messages because I am very late to going to hang out with my girlfriend. But that is okay, people. All right, there we go. Let's get some music on for the stream. What do you guys think about the mustache? You know, Ludwig recently made a video that YouTubers who are attractive get more views. And I'm a guy with self-confidence. I think that I'm attractive. But I do think I look like a freaking Goomba with a mustache. So maybe we shave this and we get some views. Or maybe I just wear what I want on my face because no one watches these videos anyway. So I'm feeling, God, it feels good to just get on camera and rant. I haven't been talking like this in a minute. I just need to get it out my system. That's what I gotta do here. So I'm gonna turn on my Pokemon mix right here. We thinking, all right, I got a couple options for you guys. We got Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Kalos, and Alola. Do you guys have any preference? What are we saying in the chat? What are we saying in the chat? Sinnoh it is. We're going to do some Sinnoh music for you, ladies and gentlemen. I am acting like a single one of you said anything, but there was no one in the chat. That is okay, people. check this out. Let's check this out. I have something beautiful for you today. Let's, ladies and gentlemen, I got something beautiful for you today. But I didn't really, there we go. Ooh, I still got, I'm gonna get dogged on for this so much. I have my activate Windows thing down there. I did not set this up in time. Okay, scene 2 is just full screen window right. And we're gonna do this. Then, sorry, we'll go main camera while I set this up. No, I can't really do that. So sorry, it's just gonna be black for a couple seconds. We'll just do display capture. Make source visible. And then the other monitor. Make it small enough to fit in the frame. And voila! There we have it! I'm so excited, guys. Okay. I made slides for you guys, okay? I made a freaking PowerPoint presentation. Because I am jacked up and excited to talk about Pokemon freaking Draft League today, baby. Here we are. I, Sean Bon Jovi, am competing in the pitch black division of the Lunar Draft League. And if you know me, you know I am head, co-lead of the Deep State Murph secret organization no one knows about. And we are expanding into our 3rd draft league, of which, of course, I am going to dominate. But my week 1 replay might not have reflected that. But that's for another video and another live stream. Let's go. So today, what we are going to talk about is what Pokemon did I pick? Who did I get round 1? How do I plan to use my team? How does it match up against other teams? And we're going to start with slide numero freaking uno, my first round pick, the King Gambit, who I believe costed me 19 points. Some of you will say that this was a waste of my money because a lot of King Gambit's high value comes from being able to Terra him, and I actually did not elect him as my Terra captain. I chose 2 other Terra captains. So let's talk about why I felt King Gambit was still worth the points. Well, he has a large amount of resistances. I mean, I have a spreadsheet full of, like, you know, all the resistances my team has, and King Gambit covers half of them. So yes, he's the most expensive Pokemon on my team, but he is a defensive cornerstone with extreme late game power due to his ability. I always call it Revenge of the Fallen, but that's a Transformers movie. I don't remember what it's called. As my team starts to faint, with each passing Pokemon, he gets stronger, and late game, he's able to, you know, save games with Sucker Punch. That is not something I want to rely on. That is not an effective strategy. However, yeah, it is fantastic to have in your back pocket. Is it a bit of a noob strategy? Yes, but it works. He has 2 good abilities, you know, not just the one I told you, but he also has Defiant, which I can use to get a +2 boost versus Intimidate Pokemon, or if Sticky Webs get set up on my end of the field. This is okay. If you gave this to a Pokemon with no good ability, I'd be like, heck yeah, man, that is a fantastic ability. But King Gambit has that other one, where as Pokemon faint, he gets stronger, and that's just one of the best abilities ever, quite frankly. He also has a strong signature move, the Kowtow Cleave, which is just a high base power Dark-type move. It doesn't go down in power like Knockoff does, so it's just really good. Nothing super fantastic, but, you know, a good move on a good Pokemon. He's not a Terra captain, as we talked about, so why did I draft him? Well, he's going to stop fairies, and we have a dragon on the team, so that's appreciated. He's going to stop darks and ghosts and psychics. You know, psychic types, just generally, you want to beat them because a lot of them are really strong. In fact, I faced the Necrozma week 1, and again, we're going to talk about how that went later. But our main sweeping Pokemon, my actual Terra captain, is a psychic type, and we're going to talk about him. But for now, just know I really need to be able to beat out darks and ghost types, and King Gambit is going to help with that. So, for my Terra captain numero uno, it's pink. and it's Tink. Yeah, baby. I got Tinkaton. I am so excited. Not really. Basically, I had some leftover points, and I felt like this was the most benefit I could get out of a Terra Captain. Outside of the main one I elected. So why is Tinkaton so good? Well, I know he's a second steel type, but as you see my team start to fill in, you're going to realize that's not a huge problem, and there was going to be some overlap in typing eventually, because I just have pretty much every typing in the game on my team, barring, I think, one. If you want to put in the comments if you figure out which one that is. I think I'm missing one. Anyway, he's the greatest type combo in the game, or she. Fairy Steel. It's a Terra Captain. It has a high base power move, the Gigaton Hammer, which works a lot like Ursaluna Blood Moon's signature move. By that I mean it's 120 base power steel move, but you can't select to use it twice in a row. Now, something I want to do is, I have this goal for this season, and it's called the Gigabonk Hammer. Basically, at some point this season, I am going to Terra Steel the Tinkaton with a choice band and click that Gigaton Hammer. And we're going to call that the Gigabonk. I want to Gigabonk someone at some point this season. In previous leagues, I think I could have gotten away with it, but this is the highest skill draft league I have ever competed in my entire life. And so pulling off a Gigabonk is going to be more difficult than normal, but I still fully intend to Gigabonk someone. A few other useful features include Mold Breaker as the ability. Mold Breaker is fantastic for hitting through abilities, particularly things like I could Surf a Water Absorber, or I could Earthquake a Levitator. But Tinkaton doesn't really want to click those moves. What Mold Breaker does for Tinkaton is allow it to hit through Magic Bounce Pokemon. So Tinkaton's Stealth Rocks can be set up on Espeon. I can Thunder Wave an Espeon. I can Encore an Espeon. Pokemon that would bounce back these utility moves are actually going to be affected by them. It also gets Knockoff, which is just a very spammable move and very nice to have. Next, we have Ogerpon C, and maybe the worst quality photo in this entire slideshow. Please forgive me, these new DLC Pokemon, there's just not as many available images for them, and I am not the best at this. So, why did I draft this? It's fast and it's got immediate power on the team. Ogerpon comes with 120 base attack stat, and Ivy Cudgel, I believe, is 100 base power and will change with its typing. So for this, it's going to be a rock type. It also comes with Power Whip, which is 120 base power grass move. It's got 350 as its top speed Jolly. So that's great. That speed is going to be able to get boosted by Stab Trailblaze. Trailblaze is not a great move as it's pretty low base power. But it is going to be Stab, and it is going to give a speed boost to an already pretty fast Pokemon, so that's going to really let me outspeed, a lot of the speed demons in this tier, or maybe even like some booster energy Pokemon. And 120 attack with those high base power moves is really great, and being able to Swords Dance to boost that really sends Ogerpon Cornerstone to the next level, as just being able to shatter walls. It also has some of the best coverage of this generation. A lot of newer Gen 9, Gen 8 Pokemon, they tried to not make them as overpowered. They give them these crazy min-max stats, but then they don't really give them a lot of good moves. Take a look at Regieleki or Dracovish. They don't have good coverage. The Ogerpons, they did not do that for. They get Knockoff, they get Play Rough, they get Zen Headbutt, and they get a ton of utility moves. Look at this. It can set up spikes, it can taunt, and it can even Encore. So if you want to try and take advantage of Ogerpon, maybe with the resist and do some setup, that's not going to fly. I can Encore you and then Swords Dance or Trailblaze and set up on you. You have to be very careful around this Pokemon, and it has a ton of immediate power. So really a great draft, and I spent a ton of points on that. I think it's well worth it. Moltres is a returning general, a team captain, if you will, of the Chicago Charmanders. That's me. I'm the Chicago Charmanders. Moltres has won a championship with me before. Not my most recent championship. I believe that was my season 2, my second season of Draft League I won. And it's just a defensive phenom, able to take on, things like Meowscarada, any strong grass types, any strong fighting types, steel types. It does really great against things like Excadrill. It's able to spam moves like Will-O-Wisp and its Flame Body to spread burn around the enemy team. It did lose Defog, which is a huge hit to its defensive utility, but I think its stats and its resistances and its ability to spread burn is going to more than make up for that. I didn't need to be able to defog, but it was really nice. It's also gives me a pivot option. along with Ogerpon. So now I got 2 U-turners going. So it's really going to help me position myself on the field. As I said, I'm playing in a much higher level draft league than I'm used to. And being able to prepare to kind of move around the field using pivot moves is going to be very useful, because I'm just not sure what I'm going to have to expect from higher level players. It's got middling speed and high special attack, so it can do some damage and pick up some KOs, but it's not what we're expecting from that. Quaquaval. I already played by week 1, and during my testing, I was fully expecting this thing to sweep with Aqua Step, which is its signature stab move that boosts its speed +1, and its ability Moxie, which boosts attack off KO. So I'm really excited to see how this thing goes. It's got Rapid Spin. I believe it's my only Rapid Spinner, so any time where I see hazards, I'm going to have to bring this that week. I might have a Defogger hidden in there somewhere. I forget. But off the top of my head, it's my only hazard removal. Between Rapid Spin and Aqua Step, it's going to be running pretty high speed, and Moxie is going to allow it to do some sweeps. Gets nice coverage moves like Knockoff. That's just off the top of my head. I love Knockoff. It's just an overpowered broken move, and having it on a bunch of Pokemon on my team is really nice. Your items are going to be pretty useless against me, or at least a lot are going to be getting removed. As well as it gets Roost. So maybe like a Roost Heavy Duty Boots Rapid Spin set is going to keep it alive for a while and able to remove hazards and maybe those more long game balanced teams I'm going to be facing, or even stall teams. I don't think we have any stall teams in this league. Being a water type, it synergizes well with Moltres. It's going to be weak to fairies, and it's going to be weak to grass types due to that water fighting typing. And Moltres resists both those attacks, so good synergy there. Now we have Stantler, and I'm going to Stantler, who is my cheapest Pokemon for 1 point, just because I don't want to make you guys wait for this thing at the end. What does it do? It's 1 point, and it fills my bench because I needed 9 Pokemon, and I needed a freaking 9th one. So here we go. Stantler. Was it 11? I don't even remember how many Pokemon are on this team. Stantler, what can it do? I don't know. It's got spikes. It can trick. I guess it can set up screens. Sap Sipper? That's not bad. We'll talk about Sap Sipper a little bit more. But for now, yeah, it can Trailblaze, Calm Mind. You know what it can do? You know what it can do for me? It can click Intimidate. And that is great. Because if it comes in and sets Intimidate, well, what else we got? We got Salamence back here. We got Salamence, baby. So we have a double Intimidate core using Stantler and Salamence, allowing me to kind of take the balls off of physical offense teams. So I guess while we're here, let's talk about Salamence, right? What is the pro of Salamence? It's a freaking Salamence. It's sick. Look at it. He's a dirty dog. What is the cons of Salamence? It's not Roaring Moon, but it is Salamence. So there you go. It's 100 base speed, maxing out at 328, and it completes that dual Intimidate core. So defensively, Salamence has good resist, similar to Moltres, but with a higher base speed and the ability to Intimidate to take the balls off offensive Pokemon. It's also another Moxie Pokemon. So if I see a team with a low physical defense, I might bring Quaquaval and Salamence and just kind of spam hyper offense, maybe Scarfed Pokemon, and try and get like Moxie Boost going and just like try and punch a hole through his team twice. But if that doesn't work, I can do like a Dragon Dance Sweeper set. Maybe I need a little extra power. I don't know. Dragon Dance is good. Maybe Dragon Dance for Intimidate sets, Intimidate for Moxie sets, Maybe I want to force a switch with Intimidate and get a second hit for free, and then we're just going crazy with Moxie, right? Defensive Ments has been extremely popular in Draft League for generations now, but it's not as good in Generation 9. It lost Defog, just like Moltres. Everyone lost Defog this generation. Salamence is no exception. It's still got decent defensive typing, and it kind of puts that cap endstone on my Fairy, Steel, Dragon core that I got going on here. Second flying type, but that's fine. I guess it gives me a bit more of an ice, rock, electric weakness, but whatever. Speaking of electric, let's go back to that slide we skipped. Gastrodon, who obviously is a water grass type that is not only protected by Stantler's Sap Sipper, but also Moltres' quad resistance grass type. So Gastrodon feels very at home on this team, and he's able to stop sweeps with moves such as Clear Smog, not Haze. I don't know why that's there. It's Clear Smog. But Jamie, remove that. Take that off. Thank you. So yeah, that's going to be Haze. Oh my god. It's Clear Smog and Roar, allowing me to phase out opponents. It can also set up Stealth Rocks, and I believe new to this generation, Gastrodon got access to Spikes, making it a pretty effective hazard setter for my team. He's got Storm Drain. That's a water immunity. That's really nice. If opponent has access to Scald, I have access to water immunities, and it's really useful considering that there is a rain team in my division. So I got to be careful. Gastrodon's probably going to come that week. Yeah, water immunities are very nice. It's high HP, particularly. What is it exactly? I think I have it pulled up over here. It's 111 HP, whereas defense is at 68 and special defense at 82. Neither of those are great, but the high HP means I can invest that bulk freely. Maybe this week Gastrodon is physically defensively. Maybe this week Gastrodon is physically defensive, but next week it can be specially defensive. So that's where we're feeling at. It also has access to recovery, keeping it alive a little longer. Yes, Gastrodon does lean specially defensive, but you know, it can really go either way. Next up, we got Toxtricity, baby. So why did I draft Toxtricity? I had a few options. You know, I was actually looking at splitting Toxtricity up. So Toxtricity was like 9 points. Instead, I could have gone for like a Weezing for 4 and a Rotom for 5, and kind of split that up. But I ended up deciding to just invest the points, all 9 points, into Toxtricity and getting good resistances. I like its resistances. I like its power. Punk Rock is at a 1.3 times boost to sound moves like Discharge, Boom Burst, and Snarl, as well as it can double its speed with Autotomize. It can even boost its attack using that for maybe things like Throat Punch. I think it gets Drain Punch, Throat Chop. So yeah, Punk Rock, 1.3 times boost. I am very tempted to use its ability Technician. It actually has a wide array of moves below 60 base power, and Technician will boost those 1.5 times. It's not as good as Boom Burst and One Drive and Snarl, but I'm still really tempted because those moves typically have cool effects and I want to use them. Like that's too hot. You know what I'm saying? Like I just want to cook with it. And I know I shouldn't, but I want to. But next up, we're going to finish this video off with my final Terra Captain of this league. And that's going to be Espathra. This is why I need to be able to beat Darks. This is a specially offensive psychic type who just wants to click stored power. So basically this thing gets access to the ability Speed Boost. That's primarily what you're going to be running. You could run other abilities. It has some good ones. But primarily we're going to run Speed Boost, which at the end of every turn, Espathra is going to get a Speed Boost. And we combine that with the move Stored Power, which goes up in 20 base power for each boost we have. We can combine that with things like Calm Mind, or if my opponent is using terrain, I could use like a Grassy Seed. This thing is really nice as a Terra typer because it allows it to gain a little more bulk and get those boosts that it's looking for, as well as allows it to punch holes through its offensive weaknesses, right? So it can't beat Dark types, but it can if I make it Terra Fairy, but it can if I make it Terra Fighting, it can if I make it Terra Bug. So that's kind of what we're looking to do. Everyone knows what Espathra does, but it's really good. And even if it's going to force my opponents to build to counter that. Defensively, every team I face is going to have to be ready to beat Espathra. And that means I kind of funnel them down certain decision-making pathways, which I can then counter. So I think Espathra might actually not get as many sweeps as we want, but it is going to be critical in all of the matches that I win. I believe that's the end of our draft. Did we skip anyone? No, I think that's it. The Deep State expansion, baby. And guys, I'm sorry, I was rifling off responses. But before I go any further, let me just tell you, we're not done here. I have tons of replays from the first week of Draft League to go over. All of these are brand new. I haven't seen a single one of these, and we're going to react to these together. But before we do that, I want to talk to you guys real quick, because I see you guys left some chats here for me. So Drop a Burn said, I guess Tink isn't the worst mon to have for your team. It's not the worst. No, in fact, I think it works very well on the team. I think it just kind of looks bad at the beginning of the slides as I go Steel Dark into a Steel Fairy right away. But like if I move Tink all the way down here at the bottom, you go, actually this fits kind of well with the Salamence, Toxtricity, Tinkaton, and Espathra. Join Us says, activate Windows, PSL for life, check the power rankings. Yeah, they're saying I am at the bottom when I am the literal reigning champion of your league. So I'll forget you ever said that to me. And everyone's just real upset about me saying that I'm playing in a real league. Yes, I am playing with people who are on professional Pokemon teams. They have a little bit more skill. I apologize. So, what are we looking at here? Is my stream an update? Okay, so first off, we have my match. Sean Bon Jovi, Sean Bon Showdown versus FSF Ice IK. He's got a Necrozma, an Amorous, Blaziken, and I'm just gonna tease you how this match starts off. A little Ogerpon versus Dragapult matchup right off the bat, but I don't want to show you that because it's embarrassing. So we're gonna watch another game first. How about that? Do we like that? Is that okay, guys? Okay, first off, we have Luck is Supremacy versus Goat Dozo. I don't know how either of these players play. They have some very different teams. We got a Kilowattrel versus Landorus lead. This feels very good for the Landorus. Kilowattrel goes with the Hurricane right away as he gets Stealth Rocks up. Hurricane doing 93% damage. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back. Let's get a little restart on this replay. Why don't we? I apologize. It's my father came down. Yes, I live with my parents, as any good 25-year-old should. And we're gonna restart that. Yeah, it's not that I'm embarrassed. He knows about what I do. It's just it feels weird to kind of do my broadcaster voice while people are present. I recently had to do it. My girlfriend has a little RuneScape podcast. She does. I did a whole live stream, or a whole freaking podcast in this pseudo voice that I sometimes do. And that was exhausting. And it was also her worst episode. She gets a ton of views. As soon as I come on, 15. People hate when chicks have boyfriends on the internet, bro. Okay, and you know what the craziest part is? You know what drives me crazy? I was watching the view count because I expected as soon as I stopped talking, you guys would start leaving. And the second I go silent, I like topped out. I maxed out viewers. I never have that many viewers. As soon as I stopped talking, people started showing up. That was crazy. What is up with you guys? Anyway, let's start off. We have Goat Dozo versus Luck is Supremacy. We get a lead Landorus T versus a lead Kilowattrel. If I'm Lando, I'm going for Stealth Rocks turn 1. And so does he. But the Kilowattrel goes for Hurricane and does 93% damage. That is absolutely bananas and convinces me that this Kilowattrel is specs because most Landorus run special defense these days. So he ends up going into Kyurem, who can maybe resist that Hurricane or threaten the Kilowattrel with Ice Beam. And our Goat Dozo expects the Kilowattrel to switch out because of that strong ice presence. So he goes for an Earth Power because it hits most of the opponent. I think it was a really bad play if I'm being honest. Oh, looks like our opponent here in the chat says, I clicked Treads. That was an accident. Look at that. I clicked Treads. They didn't mean to click Hurricane, and it just so happened to work out fantastically for them. They picked up 80 damage because of the sheer balls to not switch. I mean, that is unreal. We end up switching into Glow King, who takes 65% damage. Even with all that special defense, he still can't take that. But Regenerator gives him 33% health on switch. Tries to sack the Landorus, and the Kilowattrel finally misses. Double misses, and gets chipped for U-turn. What do you think Landorus is going to do? He's not doing nothing. Goes back into Kyurem. He U-turns, goes into the Kyurem, can actually click Ice Beam now. Goes Terra Ice and one-shots the Iron Treads. That is bananas damage output. Oh my god, look at that. The absolute balls on that thing. So, let me, oh no, I lost my spot. Okay. So Iron Treads gets sniped with the Terra Ice. Ice Beam just snipes the Treads, right? Out comes Iron Valiant, and we see a switch into Muck. That is what we see, and they end up knocking off, but Muck has Sticky Hold. So that's going to go ahead and let them keep their, what is that, Black Sludge? Yeah, it's Black Sludge. Now, does knockoff do full damage if it doesn't remove the item? That's an interesting question. We end up poison jabbing into Latios. No poison, but not a ton of damage done either. I think this is a great matchup for Muck. Well, if it was a Alolan Muck, but this is just base Muck. So he ends up getting Toxic. That's 100% accurate because Muck is a poison type. Poison types get that 100% Toxic. So he switches into Slowking to take this death hit, and he's just agility boosting, calm mind boosting, just going for the stored power sweep. You know, just really going straight for it here. You know, if I'm being honest, you know, this is my first time seeing a lot of these players. Luck is Supremacy. I'm not super impressed by what I'm seeing here. I think going for the sweep a little early, but, you know, killing some valuable pieces, you know, getting rid of the Muck, getting rid of the Landorus, so, you know, if it's working, it's working. Also failing to switch into the Treads, allowing it to end up getting one-shot the next time it tries to come out by literally telling him what his play was. Not that great. So we get a knockoff down, remove leftovers from the Spectrier, who actually revealed Protect. I want to go back and look at that. What a dangerous... I mean, were you planning on Toxic stalling with Spectrier? Who carries Protect on Spectrier? I would love to know the logic behind that, because in my head, if anything, I'm gonna run a Substitute. If I want to stall with Spectrier, I'm going Substitute so that I can end up clicking Nasty Plot for free if I end up getting a freebie. Now, yes, it costs 25% HP, but Spectrier doesn't even stay in that long. I don't see value in Protect. All I see is, you know, an opportunity for my opponent to kind of set up.
In singles and 1v1, I far prefer Substitute over Protect. I can still scout, and if I have leftovers, which I believe Spectrier did, then it's just free reign. We end up going Infernape, who resists the Iron Valiant quite nicely. You get a knockoff on Volcanion. Our friend here, though, Go, is heavily chipped, and he's lost 2 strong pieces, being Landorus and Spectrier. But he's still got the all-powerful Kyurem left. He just lost Slowking, ends up taking out Kilowattrel. He's got 2 strong pieces left to remove the rest of the team, but I think Iron Valiant should be able to come in here and clean up. So I'm guessing that's Choice Banded if he goes for the second Flare Blitz in a row. Earth Power ends up taking out the Infernape, and now it's Kyurem versus the world, and it's just not going to be able to do that. You know, they're talking in the chat over here. It was revealed that Iron Valiant is actually Scarf. You can tell because it outsped the Spectrier without a booster energy boost, so he was just clicking moves into his opponent with that. It's a great game, GG. Luck is supremacy. Very well played. Very well played. Good job today. And also, I just want to make it known, I kind of trash-talked that guy there. He won, and I got 6-0 this week. So, how about we put that in perspective? You know, I might have said he didn't impress me, but who the fuck am I? So, here we go. 2 teams I am actually incredibly scared of going into this season. We have OU Reign. We got Archer-Aladon, Pelipper, we got Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Forretress, Grimmsnarl, and Clodsire. Very strong Reign team. Very impressive to be able to get that in draft. And then we got Matcha Gotcha, who is just running a very well-balanced team and is actually my opponent this upcoming week. So make sure you subscribe if you want to catch the live stream of that match. He's got Gouging Fire, Meowscarada, Uxie for utility, Gengar for fast ghost on attacks. We got Skarmory and Rotom for a nice defensive core. Let's see how this plays out. We get a lead Meowscarada, very typical, very predictable versus a lead Grimmsnarl. Both of these just very classic leads. You'll often see U-turn on Meowscarada. I'm surprised he didn't click it, as it's a very nice lead option. Just get some chip down, and Grimmsnarl probably just going to go for Prankster Screams right away. Gets that Reflect off, and then goes straight for the Parting Shot. Doesn't care to get up Light Screen. Just Parting Shot, switches into Pelipper. Takes that Brave Bird quite nicely. You know, Skarmory doesn't care. Skarmory doesn't care about these attack boosts. He really just is doing that for a pivot. Gets a knockoff, takes the Rocky Helmet off, and that's going to be huge for Urshifu. If Urshifu Surging Striked into Skarmory, it kills itself. It takes like 75% damage. But now it's able to Surging Strikes freely, so that knockoff is going to be huge for the way this game plays out. Out comes Uxie. Let's see what we got. Uxie versus Clodsire. I think this is good for Uxie. He can kind of get up spikes or maybe screens, whatever Uxie wants to do. Instead, we see both opponents setting up Stealth Rocks. So in the bad guy's position, we have more hazards, but they also have a Reflect up. Psychic Noise, Fortress is prevented from healing. It's interesting. Why would Uxie run that? I guess he ran Psychic Noise because Clodsire tends to run Recover, and Pelipper tends to run Roost. So, does Pelipper get Roost this generation, or did that get yoinked with every other healing move? I don't see any other healing, at least in this version of the team. So I guess that's not bad. Psychic Noise is not bad. That's pretty cool, actually. I like that. If you see, I'm going to take notes. If you see an opponent with a lot of healing opportunities, Psychic Noise is not bad. Fortress carrying Earthquake and T-Wave is pretty... I mean, that is a good draft league set. It is a good draft league set. You're not going to see that on the ladder, but it's powerful and effective. He did a ton of damage to Gengar. And did he get any paralysis down? None. But effective. I like that. Ends up going into Fortress on the Flower Trick, which is great. He carries Aura Sphere to try and deal with the Fortress, but maybe he didn't run those calcs, or maybe Aura Sphere was meant for someone else. That's doing no type of damage. Pelipper comes out on the rocks, taking that chip, setting up that rain. Fortress gets sacked so that they can safely go into Archer-Aladon. I like that. That's a good decision. Honestly, though, going directly into the Archer-Aladon may have been better because they would have gotten their stamina boost. Gengar comes out, not enough hazards to die. Body Press gets ripped into Gengar, who is a ghost type, obviously immune. We get a substitute up. Perfect. Perfect. I like to play that game too. You got substitute, you might as well click it when he's paralyzed. See if you can get that paralysis, because now Archer-Aladon is going to kill Gengar and only have taken 25% HP, whereas if he didn't risk it, he would have maybe taken, upwards of 80% damage just to get that Gengar KO. So well done. MC is performing fantastically, gets the Electro Shot off, and he even went first. So he was free to just do that from the very beginning. But he got lucky, the full paralysis came out, and that allowed him to get a substitute up, as well as do these Electro Shot stat boostings. Obviously, it's going in one turn because Rain is up currently. So Archer Aladon is really threatening. Substitute is really taking advantage of his opponent here. He tried to Pain Split, but blocked by the Substitute. And did he just Iron Defense? Machagacha is in huge trouble. He really needs to find a way out here. Ends up Volt Switching, but who's he going to Volt Switch into? He goes into the Uxie. What's he looking to do here with this Uxie? Psychic Noise prevents healing. I guess, does that work through sub? Does it work through sub? Does it block leftovers? It does block leftovers. Holy crap, I did not know that. Electro Shot is just not picking up any KOs, but he is boosting his stats. It is getting stronger every turn. Now that Rain is over, though, it's not going to be nearly as useful. Time to start ripping body presses. The Archer Aladon does end up falling. That's good, because whatever's going to come out here, Meowscarada can come in, Flower Trick, crit. That's very nice. He ends up going with Gouging Fire and just ripping the Earthquake. Pelipper comes out, maybe like a strong Weather Ball. Oh, he goes Terra, Water, Dragon Dance. Now he's turning this around. Machagacha may be beginning his reverse sweep. He's facing an unaware Pokemon. I'm certain it's unaware, not Water Absorb. So he's gonna Earthquake and get the KO. Holy Toledo. We're looking at a reverse sweep here, ladies and gentlemen. He goes straight for the Urshifu. Doesn't want to set up screens, doesn't go Prankster screens, doesn't go Parting Shot, goes straight Urshifu, Aqua Jet. I have to assume that was some kind of misclick. I'm surprised by the decisions. And MC ends up saying GG's in the chat. The Gouging Fire reverse sweep. Incredibly exciting. That so far is my match of the week. I greatly enjoyed that. MC likes to say, crit mattered on Arch, but whatevs. Sometimes we all gotta have our own excuses, whatever makes you feel better. Just kidding, MC. You have been very friendly to me as a new member of this draft, and I appreciate you. You're a cool dude. Yeah, MC helped me, slid in my DMs. No, Larry, this isn't the P. McGee I know. I don't know what you're talking about. MC, he was pretty helpful post-draft. We had a grace period where you could do unlimited trades for free, and he slid in my DMs and helped me fix up my team, and I greatly appreciated him. I did that whole thing with sound on, didn't I? I apologize. I bet that was awful to watch. I'm not going to redo it. I think I've just done 2 replays with sound on, so I apologize, people. Next up, we have Angels of Beheeyem versus MLG Poplio. Kind of a stally-looking team with Perchant, Avalugg, Blissey, and Jirachi, but we do have some hitters, primarily Landorus Eye and Roaring Moon, versus a much more interesting type-diverse team. Thundurus, Noivern, we got Great Tusk, Munkidori, Primarina, and Arcanine Hisui. Personally, I think, who would I lean towards? Who am I predicting a W in this matchup? I think I'm going to go MLG Beheeyem. But at any moment, this Roaring Moon could absolutely just get off the leash versus this team and crush, so long as he deals with that Primarina. Avalugg ends up Terra-typing turn 1 versus the Arcanine, which it definitely needed to do. Ice is not a positive matchup versus an Arcanine. Ends up going into the Primarina. Lots of Psychic Noise. Is Psychic Noise really good in draft? I mean, this is the second time we've seen it this week. Munkidori comes in and frisks the Eviolite. Frisk is fantastic. It lets you know what item your opponent is running, which on the ladder is not as useful, but in Draft League it is massively useful. However, Chansey you can always expect to be running Eviolite. Ends up Parting Shotting. This match is looking a lot like our previous match, at least in move slot choice. We get a Nasty Plot off, an Amnesia, so our opponents are kind of matching, and now they're just playing the boosting game. We get a Zen Headbutt, ripping. We get an Agility. Scheduling, the Thundurus Therian, named Scheduling, is going for a lot of boosts. The Zen Headbutt misses, as he Terra Ghost, Terra Blast. You know, he has a full-on Chansey in the back, so going for this nasty plot sweep early could likely not pay off. Unless he has some sort of tech. Maybe he's got Focus Blast. He does reveal Focus Blast for Roaring Moon and Blissey. As the knockoff just goes KOs because he had Terra Ghosted. So there we go. We got Perchant versus a name I truly do not have a chance at pronouncing. And Dick Vet. That's a pretty woman's name. Sludge Wave into the Landorus Eye. Now this is looking like a more typical match, just kind of a slugfest, hit, switch, hit, switch. But those first couple turns were very exciting. You got the Chansey out, the Psychic Noise prediction is great. You know, not letting Chansey get any soft-boiled healing. We got a strong physical attacker, so Chansey's going to definitely switch. We go into the Avalugg, which gets Flare Blitzed into. That defensive core of maximum defense in Avalugg and maximum special defense in Chansey could carry this team through this match, because our opponent here, Angels of Behem, he just doesn't really have any breaking power. He's going to struggle to remove these threats off the field. If I was him, I would maybe consider... If I was him, I would have looked here at this Chansey Primarina matchup, and I probably would have expected this to happen, right? And so I would have maybe brought Whirlpool Perish Trap. That's how I would have highly considered that. Not because I think that's effective in most matches, but versus an opponent who clearly wants to stall me out with Jirachi, Perchant, Chansey, and Avalugg. Yeah, I'm going to make you stay in here, and we're both going to die. That's how I would have approached it. And maybe, I think Primarina even gets flip turned now, so it's not even a suicide, it's just a kill. As Primarina comes out again, he's going to want to get that damage down. Luckily, we do get a burn on Avalugg. Out comes Chansey. You're going to have to start predicting these things soon. You're going to have to start going, baiting out the Chansey and doubling into either Great Tusk or Arcanine and forcing that Avalugg out until it breaks. So he does try to predict it, right? So he forces out the Avalugg with the Arcanine and then switches into the Primarina. But all he now has to do is go back into Chansey. But he ends up deciding to go into the Perchant. Very nice. I like that. You know, this game is he's not down and out yet. I actually think he's playing very well with what he's brought. Using that Psychic Noise to hold Chansey down. As well as, you know, actually getting some good chip on it. He is breaking these pieces. He's just breaking them very slowly. And he did just lose a critical piece to the puzzle. Out comes Chansey, he's going to get Psychic Noised, and it's getting worn down eventually, very slowly. A nice crit, maybe just what the doctor ordered. A Seismic Toss comes out, Heal Block ended, Psychic Noise again, 3%. He didn't fall for it, you know, he didn't get hopeful and think maybe he'll let me Seismic Toss, or maybe he'll let me Soft Boiled. He just tosses. Dragon Pulse comes out versus the Perchant. Blissey is all but dead if it tries to switch in. Perchant is just recover stalling with this huge defense stat. So now he's fishing for flinches is what he's doing and hoping he can prevent that recover. But now he's confused and toxic, and that's really looking like it's going to be game. MLG Poplio. It has the exact reaction anyone else would have. He says, fuck this game. Yeah, man, I agree. Playing 40 turns of stall is not fun. Fuck this game. I am not looking forward to playing MLG Poplio. Ladies and gentlemen. I actually drafted Avalugg and I traded him. I traded it to him because I didn't think I could use it. But that, yeah, man, what a stall lord. All right, we got 2 more replays. Let's see if any of them are very fast. So we're going to go muted, play sound off. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa, 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 no Sneasel. Oh, this guy drafted a Sneasel. Okay. So here we go. Ollie Boy versus Potato. We get a Sandy Shocks versus Garchomp. If this is a Terra Captain Shocks, you know, he might get the OHKO on Garchomp right now. These Sandy Shocks like to run Terra Ice. But frankly, I don't know who the Terra Captain is. Instead, we get an Earth Power versus Earthquake. Garchomp doing a lot more damage than Shocks, but he's going first. Looks like he wants to avoid that damage on Garchomp. Goes into the Sarina, kind of absorbs the hit. Yeah, Sandy Shocks gets a T-Wave. So Shocks did okay here. Got some initial spikes up, but they got spun away. Got chipped down on Garchomp, paralyzed the Sarina, so he's kind of doing his job here. Ends up going into Corviknight, who matches up really well into the Sarina, but not enough to scare it off. So he ends up getting punished for that U-turn. This match is going fast, baby, fast. Corviknight gets seed bombed. Again, I think you just leave Corviknight in now and maybe punish this Sarina, see what he wants to bring at you with this thing. He's just taking his knockoff so he can get him, and Sarina dies. Maybe he should have went for that sooner. But you never know with these people. You never know when people are just not going to switch on you. Iron Moth burns his booster energy, gets a fiery dance off. If he's got Energy Ball, he might be able to KO Diancie here, as he does. Looks like we're a little ill-prepared. We got Terapagos, who goes for a Terra Shift, Terra Shell, distorting type matchup, so it's not very effective, and then it KOs. Woo! A nice way to take out the Iron Moth, very simply. Very impressive. Annihilate on the field. Terra Dragon, Annihilate. Dragon typing is nice because it gives you a whole host of resistances and lets you take hits, which Annihilate loves because it boosts the power of Rage Fist. So I understand where they're coming from with that, especially looking at this team. Maybe not with a strong fairy like Diancie. Bug Buzz comes through, ends up critting, but not enough to KO, and Annihilate might just be sweeping here. Ogerpon might also come in, be able to KO, but with that defense boosting and that dragon typing, you're going to have to hope that embody aspect damage is big enough. It's not. You need about double that. Ogerpon hangs on, but the... no play rough on the Ogerpon is just killing him. I mean, I don't know why you don't bring that versus a team that has a dragon, a dark, and a fighting type. You got to bring play rough in that matchup. And just a huge win for Potato early on. Looks like some bad coverage moves options were kind of the punishment there. And if he had maybe prepped a little bit better, that could have been a very different game. And maybe we'll see them again in the playoffs, because I think he'll probably want a rematch after that. We got 2 more replays, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost done here. So here we got an interesting matchup. Probably one of the worst looking teams and one of the best looking teams. All right, I'm going to level with you guys. I think Lechonk is one of the worst looking teams in this entire draft league. However, rumor has it that Lechonk is just grotesque. Like, apparently this guy is a great player. Apparently he's disgusting. But he's got Revival Blessing, healing his Pokemon. He's got walls like Skeledirge and Ting-Lu. He's got a terrain setter, and then he's got Quark Drives. So he's just kind of all over the place. He's speccing into a lot of different strategies. He's got high offense, high defense, and he's bringing out revives. We're going to see how this goes versus a really classic-looking HO team on the other side. I mean, Snowy Kurama is one of the best-looking teams in this league, if you ask me. So let's see how this plays out. Oh, let me mute those sounds. I apologize. We got Skeledirge versus Deoxys turn 1. We get a boosted special attack stat off the Torch Song, as well as Stealth Rocks going up. That's what Deoxys Speed tends to do. It tends to just be a utility Pokemon. Arcanine comes out getting Intimidate. Obviously, Skeledirge doesn't care, but he resists the Torch Song quite nicely. Goes for a Crunch. Skeledirge saw that coming, though, with the Colbur Berry. You see, Lechonk might have a bad team, but he's smart. He expected a Dark-type attack. Apologize. Yeah, so he was able to expect kind of people who use these items that negate the power of certain type attacks. These are players who are able to see the field and what's coming at them. And you don't have to be the best to do that, but you got to have a brain. Like, you got to know how this shit's going to boil down. So seeing that, I know, he's on that level 3. Maybe. There's like bad at draft, then there's kind of good. And then there's that level 3, which is like, hey, you're starting to cook up some pretty good drafts versus your opponents. And so I'd say he's at least a level 3 draft league player, minimum. And maybe even higher. So we got that Colbur Berry absorbed there. As he ends up cursing, a ghost type curse. Really forcing the Arcanine out as the Arcanine decides to stay in, take that damage, and give some out, but at the cost of Arcanine is out of the game. So we end up switching the grass type in on the fire type, which is ballsy. But, he knew he was faster, and he got that knockoff off, and he kills the Skeledirge. So now Pincurchin comes out and takes away Rillaboom's terrain. That's smart. The Sneasler is really going to want to pop off with grassy terrain. So having that electric terrain on the team is nice. That lets him turn that off, and he
performed that expertly. So well done. We got Flying type Pinecurchin, gives him an extra turn. Ends up getting flinched. All very interesting. All very interesting. Tinglu versus Rillaboom. I definitely favor Rillaboom in this matchup. If I'm him, I'm just clicking like a wood hammer or something in this situation. Pinecurchin should die to that. Ends up drain punching 9%. Another one should KO, and he is faster. So down goes Pinecurchin. Oh, apparently there was a crit into a flinch here at some point. I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention. Freeze Dry is super effective versus water types, but steel types resist ice, so it ends up being neutral. So it's Iron Bundle is a very threatening Pokemon, right? But Empoleon is one of the best answers to it. If I'm looking at it right now on paper, that is a great answer to Iron Bundle. And he's even able to KO with Flash Cannon. I guess I've never realized how good of an answer he is to Iron Bundle before, but he truly is. We had Surf and a Tinglu. Tinglu, very specially defensive, doesn't really mind. He can just click Body Press here. I don't know why he's going for Ruination. Yeah, Body Press does way more. I guess maybe if our opponent switches, Ruination is better. Fair. Grassy Glide is looking pretty sweepable now. I saw the record, right? I was looking at who the kill leaders are in this league, and I saw someone has 2 deaths, which means someone is about to get Revival Blessing here. And I know who it is. It was Pinecurchin. He brought back the terrain Pokemon to give him another opportunity to set up Iron Leaves to sweep. So it looks like he's going to let himself get KO'd here. Nope. Deoxys sets up spikes, goes for a superpower. Pinecurchin goes for spikes of his own. Man, is this going to be a 7-0 sweep here? Quark Drive ends up boosting Iron Leaves. Speed boost, attack boost. Knocked off the Twisted Spoon. As Psyblade comes out, does a ton of damage. I don't believe that speed boost is going to be enough to outspeed Sneasler. Now that Grassy Terrain goes up, Sneasler's... Ooh, that's game. Yeah, Sneasler's going to hit the field. Was it Grassy Seed? No, Leftovers. Very interesting. Which means he's like Poison Touch or Pressure? I don't know what he's doing. He was cooking with this Sneasler. Dear God. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've all been waiting for. The replay of my game this week. The final replay of the night. Me. And this is the most embarrassing replay in the world. So... sit down while I explain to you what happens. I simmed this over and over again. Lead Ogerpon. And even if he ends up being Wisp Dragapult, I was able to find outs during my simulations. And that's what ends up happening. The only thing that I didn't account for in my simulations was this guy right here, Necrozma, the Psychic type. It is one of his most expensive Pokemon, and I knew I needed to prep for it. But I haven't seen it used in draft. It can do a million different things. I wasn't sure what it was going to do. And he ends up going, well, you'll see what he ends up doing with it. But he ends up leading with this Dragapult and does a number to my team. Ogerpon gets burnt right away. During my simulations, that was fine, but it really hurt. And him getting it first turn was great for him. It breaks my Sturdy. It cuts my power in half. It's really good. And he ends up getting screens up, too. And he goes straight Necro. His Necrozma Midnight Cruising. And here's where I make a mistake. I get some damage down on it. I kind of just want to... I get some damage as it switches. And I'm worried that it's going to be... I'm not sure what it's going to do, right? So I go into the Ogerpon as he starts Dragon Dancing. And this is so dang bad for me, right? As I switch, he Dragon Dances. So I decided to Power Whip. I'm panicking. Power Whip was not the play, people. The play would have been to U-turn into Gastrodon. Right? So I end up realizing this now, that I need to go into Gastrodon because my Gastrodon has Clear Smog and can remove these stat boosts and save the game. But I let him get one too many Dragon Dances, and that wraps it up right there. He's too fast. He's too strong. He's able to heal himself back up. That's game. Now, shout out to FSFI, Ice Ick, whatever your name is. I spoke to him after the match. We talked game, we talked prep. Sweet guy. I enjoyed it. He gave me he put me on some game with the Spathra, which you're going to see next week. But yeah, that's how that went. Quackwoval, during all my testing, was one of my best sweepers. I was consistently winning with Quackwoval, and the Spathra was also able to get some consistent wins. But not this week. This week it was tough. Ladies and gentlemen, I am embarrassed to say that in the first week of the most difficult draft league I have ever competed in, calamity has occurred. And I have been 6-0 sweeped. I mean, my record in this league is atrocious. It's embarrassing, quite frankly. And I promise you right now that next week we're going to look a hell of a lot better. Baby, what's your name? Superior. Look at me right now, Superior. I'm coming for you.